2023, 6:30 p.m. to order. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first order of business will be to swear in the new members. Amy?
They just repeat after me, is that how you do this? Okay, we'll go first. Mike? I, Mike Moran,
I, Mike Moran,
do swear and affirm
do swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
carry out with fidelity the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of town councilperson
of the town councilperson
of the town of
of
Greenwood.
the town of Greenwood.
Okay, do you want to read it too? So I, Marshall Kemp,
I, Marshall Kemp,
do swear and affirm
do swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
carry out with fidelity
carry out with fidelity
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of town councilperson
of town councilperson
of the town of Greenwood.
of the town of Greenwood.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yep,
Congratulations.
congratulations. Both of you.
Thank you, Amy. Next order of business will be to elect the officers for the upcoming year. First, we have the office of mayor. I open the nominations for mayor, and I nominate Donnie Talbert. Are there any other nominations for the office of mayor? No more nominations for the office of mayor. The nominations are closed. And we will take a vote.
Do you have a second on you moved to nominate, do you have a second?
Did anybody second Donnie Talbot?
Second.
Got a second by Mike Moran.
No, you can.
Okay. Mike, how do you vote?
Yes.
Donnie, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dee, how do you vote?
Yes.
Marshall, how do you vote?
Yes.
I think it's unanimous. Mr. Talbot, you are now the mayor of Greenwood.
Thank you.
And I pass the mallet to you.
Okay.
Don't break it.
I won't. Next order of business will be they'll ask for a nomination for vice mayor.
I nominate Norman Reed for vice mayor.
I'll second that.
Oh, yes.
No. Anybody else? Any other nominations for vice mayor? No? Okay, so we have Norman nominated for vice mayor, and we'll take a vote. Mike,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Norm,
Yes.
Yes.
yes. Everybody's a yes. So Norm will now be the vice mayor again. Next order of business will be to accept nominees for secretary.
I nominate Dee Jones, Dolores Jones,
Doreen.
Doreen.
Doreen Jones, I'm sorry. Wrong sister.
She's out of it.
And I'll second that. Any other nominations for secretary? Okay. How do you vote, Doreen?
Yes, of course.
I'll vote yes.
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 Yes for everybody. Okay. So we now have me as mayor, Norm vice mayor, Doreen will be the new secretary. We currently have one current vacancy on the Board of Adjustments from the removal of Marshall. As for the procedure of how to fill the current and future vacancies, I'd like to discuss posting the positions and asking any interested people to submit letters of interest, and then the council would pick from the applicants. Does anybody?
Mr. Torber, we actually have 2 openings now.
Actually,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I need to address that. So it turns out, I looked into your Board of Adjustment Annual Planning Commission, you don't have an ordinance or anything that addresses Board of Adjustment, so you would default to what the state code says. That says that you should have 5 members for 4-year terms. And the terms are supposed to be staggered, so at least one person comes off every year. So you had, okay, Mr. Kemp is off by virtue of this office. You had 2 other people who were expired, Jennifer Nelson, Randy Willie. And then you would have 3 other vacancies, Mr. Kemp's and 2 others that you never had. So we can structure, you said it correctly, though, we would solicit interest for the positions, and we would say term 1 is this year, this year, this year, this year. But I just wanted to let you know that you have, I guess you technically have 2 expired positions. You can see if they want to re-up, and then
Okay.
you'll have 3 vacancies.
And Randy Willie did say today he wants to stay on.
Is Jen aware that hers is expired as well?
Yes, she wants to stay on the planning commission, but she's gonna come off the board of adjustments.
And they're 4-year terms under the state code. You had 3-year before for some reason. Do you want to talk about planning commission since she's going to be putting up a notice for Board of
Yeah, I
Adjustment?
mean, just, how's everybody else feel about that, about, just let people apply for either one of the
Do we
positions
have-
and then,
How many openings do we have on planning commission?
Okay, on planning, you have Ms. Nelson, she expired last year. You had 2 other who were expired, and then 1 person coming off in 24, 2 people coming off in 24. So you have 3 that need reappointment, and then depending on how the terms are staggered, you may need to adjust the term. So you do have an ordinance for that. Your ordinance says 5 members with 3-year terms, again staggered, so they expire in different years. So you will have, well, if you reappoint Ms. Nelson, you'll have 2 other vacancies now that we'll need to figure out what the terms will be.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 for planning commission and I guess 4 for Board of Adjustment. If Mr. Willie wants to stay on. If he doesn't, then it's 5.
so is everybody good with, we'll advertise for positions and then see who actually puts in for it and you're gonna go from there? And if not, then I guess we can just start asking people. I mean,
I make a motion that we post the vacancies and, see what kind of response we get.
I'll second it.
good. Okay, we're gonna skip over a couple parts, and go to the public comment. I understand we have some people here that has some things they'd like to talk about.
Mr.
So,
Torber, we have Stephanie first. Number
Okay.
4.
Executive session first.
Okay.
I talked to Mr. Reed.
Yeah.
I did want to do, just when there's new members on council and when people get sworn in, I just like, with my clients, I just like to do like an overview of being a town council person. And, so I did a little PowerPoint that you have. You can put it up or not, I'm not gonna cover
I got it.
every word of this, but, so let me just run through this quickly. As you probably know, you are considered a council manager form of government. That is, there's a town council, you're elected, and then you have the town manager. She's what I call the CAO, she's the chief administrative officer. She basically does all the day-to-day business of the town. She's the ultimate supervisor for personnel issues. Typically, personnel issues don't come to you unless there's some compelling reason. She responds at least initially to citizen concerns. Of course, citizens can talk to you at your public meetings as well. She implements your policies and procedures, develops a budget, gets grants, that sort of thing. And she will consult with me when legal issues come up. So the governing documents are first your charter. That's like the Constitution basically for a town. That sets the sort of set in stone parameters of what you can and can't do, what your powers and duties are. Ordinances, typically you have a set of ordinances. Yours is kind of a mess. They're from decades ago. And I think Janet is right now working on.
Yeah, they're being codified.
They're being codified. So you're going to actually have a code that people can go to online and see what the ordinances are. So a company that does this will put them in some logical order so that we have a good set of ordinances. And, we'll start taking a look at them. Like I said, a lot of them are really old. They might need to be updated. And then, of course, your budget, and that sets the dollar amounts that you have to work with to spend on different things. You're the decision makers for expenditures ultimately. So obviously you can only take action that doesn't conflict with the United States and the state constitution or the state code in areas where it applies. There might be a DELDOT issue that they have supervision over. You can't counter whatever state code says on that. The town charter, as I said, is your guiding document, and the ordinances and policies, and then Freedom of Information Act is a state law that specifies that bodies like yourself do business in public, except for limited exceptions where, like tonight, you're having an executive session on personnel and other issues. It carves out certain areas where you can meet privately, but you can't ever take action in a private meeting. That if you want to take action on something, it comes to a public meeting. And then there's the public integrity laws that I'll touch on a little bit, and they talk about conflicts of interest and things like that for elected officials. So the key issues that you'll end up dealing with, maybe employees, they're out there, they're the most visible local government that people deal with. As I mentioned, there's a chain of command. They typically report to a department head who reports to the town manager, and then if an issue, she needs to escalate an issue, it's going to come to you. In the police department, there's special considerations for their personnel because they have something called the Law Enforcement Officers Bill of Rights. So if an officer needs to be disciplined, that's something where it doesn't really go through Janet. It's something I would deal with the chief on and he makes sure that that Bill of Rights is followed. For constituent concerns, people may approach you with concerns. Usually best if it's some item of day-to-day governance to refer that issue or problem to the town manager or get information from her to respond back and document any issues in writing when that's necessary. I already talked about FOIA, that council is presumed to conduct business in public session. Be careful with email communications. I know you all have town email addresses. It's best if you use those for government or for your business-related correspondence. I know some of you use personal emails, and that's okay. Just keep in mind that you could be exposing your personal email to a search if there was, a FOIA request or litigation or something like that. So best, since you have that town email, best to use that. If we do get FOIA requests, they have to be in writing. There's a form that people use, and Janet sends those to me for review. So, ethics and responsibilities of office. Your duty, you just took the oath, is to act impartially in the public interest. You have fiduciary responsibilities with respect to public funds and public assets to use those in the public interest. Obviously, you don't use your office for any personal or private interests. You can't assist a private party if somebody, your neighbor says, can you make sure council does this or that? You can't assist somebody in advocating for any specific action they might want the town to take. If you have any concerns about something, just raise them to Janet or to me. Recusing yourself from a matter, we have an issue involving the county. Mr. Moran recuses himself. He works for the county. So if you're affiliated with the interested party, or where there could be what they call an appearance of impropriety, it just looks like you have too much of a stake in the issue, that may be a case where you want to take yourself out of discussion or voting on that item. Under your charter and public integrity laws, there's no contracting can be made between the town and any entity you have a financial interest in. Again, open deliberations, and you shouldn't gather in a quorum, which is 3 or more of you, to discuss public business outside of a meeting like this. So in conducting meetings like this, obviously you want to be impartial and fair to all parties appearing before you. The public has the right of public comment to say things good or bad. They have the right to criticize. You obviously want to refrain from any abusive conduct, language, or personal attacks on other members, staff, or members of the public. It's important to note, council can only take action as a body, as a quorum, not as individuals. Oh, and I should mention, a quorum is 3 of 5. If, for instance, there were only 3 of you sitting because 2 people were absent for some reason, you could take a vote with 2 of the 3. So it's a majority of the quorum sitting, which has to be at least 3. Next one. So this is something the Public Integrity Commission wrote about conflict of interest. In order to assure the independence and impartiality on behalf of the public good, council members shall not use their official positions to influence government decisions in which they have a financial interest or where they have an organizational responsibility or a personal relationship that would present a conflict of interest under applicable state law. And a personal or private interest is defined as something that could impair your judgment in performing official duties. And that's case by case really, but it always applies if you have a financial interest in the issue at hand. And then finally, you're going to be privy to some confidential information, often in an executive session. You have an obligation to protect and preserve that confidential information, not disclose it without legal authorization, and that sort of thing could include personnel information, legal advice given in executive session, collective bargaining or contract negotiations until the contract is final, or trade secrets. And as always, if you have any questions about it, please, we'd rather hear about it before something happens if you're concerned about it. That's all I have.
Okay. All right, we'll get back to this public comment part. And as I said, we're
Executive session.
gonna do that last, I thought.
No, we can't.
Okay, so I guess the next order of business, sorry for all you guys, but I guess we're supposed to be going to executive session, so that means you all have to leave.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn to executive session.
Second. Write that down. Did that change? You should've told me that before we started.
Yeah, I forgot that. Okay, went back, go back.
Getting out of jacket, it's cold out there.
It's terrible. We do it anytime you want. She said yes, we'll do it last. Okay. No, I ain't wanting you, that's what you were told, right?
Do you want to hit stop on it?
Never stop it.
Okay, I need a vote from everybody about the executive session. How do you vote?
Yes.
Norm,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yeah.
Mike?
I abstain.
I think you're confused of what you're
Which,
voting on.
which topic
The
are
first-
we discussing?
The one you were not here
What we
for.
discussed.
Yes, and Mike
I
can't.
You're not
abstain.
voting.
I'm not voting.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, what's,
Yes.
okay, so 4 yes.
Yeah,
I didn't mention, but the mayor does vote on every issue.
right. Good? Okay, so we'll get back to where we started before we made you all go outside, the public comment. So who would like to talk first? You got 3 minutes. Cause nobody that wants to talk is on the agenda for tonight, so that's how the public comment works.
So, with the town's permission. So my name is Adam Geloff, I'm an attorney, I represent Woodbridge Little League. I'm gonna, just don't have any prepared remarks. I very much am a lover of youth athletics, it is my passion, and I'm gonna speak from the heart. On behalf of the Woodbridge Little League, we very much want to stay in the town of Greenwood. We believe the Little League mission is a positive one for the community. And I find it unfortunate that the actions of the town manager and with the support of the town attorney have made it clear to our party, my clients, that the town does not want us here. We've tried to work with an understanding for the facility. As you look out at that field, the lights, the fencing, a lot of what has been created there, if not all of it, is due to the maintenance, to the volunteer hours of the Little League. The Little League is so committed to staying there that we're willing to invest and commit to invest additional revenue towards the facility. We've spent tens of thousands of dollars over the years in maintenance of it. My understanding from the town's attorney and manager is that the town wish is to take on all those expensive maintenance fees, to have the power to micromanage the access of the facility, to control scheduling, to take away all those actions of the Little League, despite the fact that that is an unmanageable situation. I'm sad. I'm personally sad that the loss of Little League to this community in this council session is one that's gonna not change. And there'll be stories in years to come about how nice it was to have T-ball being played back there, 280 kids playing. And I don't think it's too late for someone to get to their senses and actually do what's best for the children of this community. Little League, by its foundation, must be based in the community. It's affordable to local families and it's supported positively by the businesses because it is a true local community youth first organization. There's a way that these thrive, Little Leagues, everywhere else in the county that is not the way your town manager and your town attorney want it to happen. It's not manageable what they've tried to force down my client's throat, never asking, how can we make this work? I think it's sad. I really do think it's sad. The loss of the community resource of those kids, 280 kids sign up for Little League playing in those back fields, is going to be the legacy of this town council because of your town attorney and because of your town manager. I think you have the power to stop it, and I hope you will.
I just want to briefly respond that we haven't received any counter proposals from Woodbridge Little League, as you know.
And I have a chain of emails to the town council, and if you ask to see those, you will see the theoretical guidance that we have. There's been an unwillingness
I'm
to
sorry, you have
negotiate.
emails that I wasn't copied on?
Ask to see the emails. And when you want to come to the table and talk, we can get a proposal together like that. When you
Alright,
tell
but
us you're not willing to discuss
time is up.
anything, and the final
Your time is
deal is
up, and
there.
as you know, your client is represented, the town is represented. I've asked you to, if you have any proposals, to send them to me, and we've heard nothing since November.
I disagree with what your town attorney is telling you. Ask for her emails.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak?
I do. Hi, my name is Tammy LaCates. Thank you. I am not on the Woodbridge Little League board. The board had asked me to come on when Mr. Uber said that he could not work with the president, Matt Taylor, as a person that was not on the Little League board, but a person who has children who play travel ball. I just want to say that the agreement was shared with the board and all 14 board members voted that they could not sign the agreement. The agreement was sent to us and stated it was final. It also stated that if we signed it and we had to leave the property, that the stuff on the property would then become the town's. We cannot afford to lose all of that stuff and start over, especially when you're looking at the softball field loan is $60,000 for the fence. We just can't do that. So there's a lot of things. Schedule, we cannot provide a schedule as the agreement asked for by January 31st because we're mandated by district to have registration through March 15th. There's just a lot of things, but as a person from the community, I have fought hard with the board about staying in Greenwood. If we don't have these kids coming here, Tamborelli's doesn't get their support, the coffee shop doesn't get their support, the gas station doesn't get their support. And if everybody picks up and goes to Bridgeville, then Greenwood gets no support. That's not fair to our community. Not when we've been here. I played on those fields at 5 years old. So it's important that we stay here. And I work with Delmar Little League for my children's, and there's none of this. You go to a board meeting, they tell you what you can do, you help each other out. It's just really sad. And I know I keep hearing, well, we can't do anything about it as council members because it's the town manager. Well, then someone has to be in charge of the town manager. And if she's the problem, then it sounds like someone needs to do something about that. Because for 47 years, I've been here. We've played here. And we're training kids right now at WECEC Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And we don't have a problem with the school. We do what we're told. But we also know that that organization asked to go there and they can't because they only have 2 kids that are within our district. So they have to pay so much to use it that they decided maybe not. So I just wish that that could be turned around and that we could help these kids. You know, like in the fall, I had 2 foster kids on my team. They can't afford to play travel ball, but Little League, we waive their fees. We make it happen for all kids, and that's what's important.
Anybody else?
I will. My name is Ryan Potter. I'm the Vice President of the Woodbridge Little League. I'm here on behalf of not just my kids, but almost the other 300 kids that were with the league last season. Both my son and daughter started at T-ball right down the street from where we're sitting right now. I believe most of you have had kids that have come, or grandkids that have come through the league before. I don't know if anybody else has played travel ball or not. It's not important. But again, we've had almost 300 kids last season play for us. They have 2 from Bridgeville and Greenwood. I'm not sure which number. I believe 300 represents a better demographic for the area than 2, but with that said, part of the contract that we received was we had to have our numbers in to you guys to use the field by the 31st of January. Our registration just opened.
It's
I'm sorry, I just want to correct, he can have extra time. It said you needed to designate the months in the spring, summer season, and it specifically said you don't need to provide a detailed schedule.
No, it said a schedule must be provided.
I'm gonna have the agreement posted, the draft agreement posted on the town website, so
There's
everybody
people
can
that have
see
publicly
this.
commented on that, and that I think most of us have seen that, how that they also point out the same fact that how can we possibly have our schedule together when it doesn't even end until May? How can we get a schedule to get that? It's not possible. You can't do some of the things in these contracts that we're asked for. It's just totally unreasonable. We have come to these meetings. We have met with everybody. We have had public forum. We've invited everybody. All our Little League meetings are open to the general public. Anybody can come. We've invited the Ducks in person. We stood outside and talked with them for a couple hours after a meeting. We've gotten no resolution. We were told to make it happen. We tried. But here we are. We're standing before you once again trying to figure it out. But we've not got any direction. No resolution. I don't think you guys want us to leave. I don't think that's what the intention is here. But if not, what's the plan?
What do the other towns do?
The town of Bridgeville?
The other little leagues, what do the other little leagues do when?
Can I respond?
Sure.
I defer to Mr. Gallup.
So look,
Do we wanna keep going back and forth or?
It's within my 3 minutes, right?
this is what the problem is,
He's
they're
already
using
spoken to,
parliamentary
they turned the timer off.
procedures.
It's my
Like,
three
I just need to
do
know
you
if
care
I'm
more
turning
about
it
the
off.
3 minutes?
That's what I'm listening. Just turn it off? Okay.
So to me, this is where this all fell apart. is like, look, again, I've got a big travel organization, much bigger than Ducks, 25 teams, most successful in the state. There's a way that this works everywhere else in the county, Little League. I would not have been able to build my 25 team without Little Leagues. I use Milton Field, I use Rehoboth, I use Lewis for decades, okay? And there's a way that it works that's a common sense Sussex County way of respect. If I come to something that says Woodbridge Little League on it, where they've put up the lights, where their volunteer hours cuts the grass, where they put the fences up, I come in as a member of the community to try to support that Little League. I get on the board, I coach them, and I defer to them. I never try to say, I should get it over you. And what fundamentally went wrong here is the town manager stepped involved and said, travel ball team, you don't have to respect the Little League. We'll give it to you when we want, when we see fit, it's our field, we can do it. And then we lost that respect that there is a deferential treatment. Everywhere else in the county, there's common sense deference to the Little League. And not a try to micromanage the facility. And that's what you're deciding to do today.
I've talked with 3 people, and I just got one question for you. Why did you tell the Little League people, do not talk to us about anything?
Sir.
That's what I was told by
Sir.
3 different people.
Sir.
Matt Taylor was one of them.
So, hold on a second. Your town attorney, I want to talk to each of you. Your town attorney lectured to me in an improper manner as to my ethical obligations and said that I should direct all of the Woodbridge Little League personnel not to be able to talk to councilmen, and that's in writing.
All right, I just want to, this context you're talking about took place before the discussions we
I
had.
want you to talk to the Little League. I want all the,
However,
You got a meeting on Monday.
since there's,
I thought it was a pretty simple request, was all you needed to do was fill out your intent to use the field.
it wasn't. And-
Well, from what I read, I didn't read anything more than that, like we're taking something away from you and we're not gonna let you.
You're
do something.
micromanaging access.
the town is controlling scheduling of its field.
See, that's what fundamentally changed, is that the town, in a power and control move, says we want to micromanage access, and we're not gonna give deferential treatment to the Little League, and we're already gonna give away a whole fall season to an outside the community organization. You know what? We're gonna take on the expense as a town, where you, Little League, have previously paid all the bills for the lights, the trash, cutting the grass. We're now gonna pay all that. Because we understand that it kind of makes sense that you've been paying all the bills, the trash, the lights, cutting the grass, that if you're doing that, you should have some say. So we're taking all those bills back so we can have control. That's how much the town manager and your town attorney have invested in the ability to micromanage, to push out your own community kids.
The only reason we got involved with this is because you got a bunch of adults that can't get along.
I agree.
None of you guys, oh yeah,
I can
I've
solve
heard
this
more than
problem.
one time from Little League people, we don't care who uses the field. We get along with everybody. And then as soon as they somebody else wanted to come in there and play, then all of a sudden you got a problem. That's why we're in the middle of all this. We shouldn't even be doing this.
When I spoke here, sir, the last time, I said that is a legitimate concern,
Far afield.
and there's a way to solve it. And the way to solve it is in your license agreement, mandate that the Little League put up on their website, which we agreed to do, an application for public use, that you dictate amount of time where the Little League has to respond, put a very public access application. That way, rather than your town manager or secretaries
Mr. Geloff, this
micromanaging
is
it,
public comment.
that we would
Mr.
do it,
Geloff.
and you could manage it and say, if we don't get back to it in 15 days, we
Mr.
will.
Geloff, this is typical of your response to me. You're disrespectful. This
Can I
is
have
public
3 minutes?
comment and your time has been up for some time.
Okay.
Can I have 3 minutes?
Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. An organization wishing to apply shall submit their proposed schedule request and sign copy at least, their proposed schedule request.
Alright,
To
now,
me,
I'm sorry.
to me, the interpretation would be to schedule when you want it to when you want it.
Months, not days.
Yeah.
One of the comments I got
I've got
was,
something to read.
we don't even know how many kids we've got yet. Okay, well, I understand that. But do you want to use the field or don't you want to use the field? That was the only question.
This was in
So,
the
not-
agreement.
Can I respond?
You got 5 kids or 50?
This was in the agreement. Schedules need not be detailed, by date and event, just by month or season, with start and end dates for time periods with the license wishes to utilize the premises.
Oh, I'm not gonna disagree with
But
that.
Little League hasn't, but that's not what they said we were
That's just
doing.
one
That's just
thing
one
that needs to
thing.
be changed.
We, in 3 minutes, we're talking about
Mr.
it.
Donovan,
That's
you
just
still
one.
have 3 minutes, so are you done?
Sorry, Donna.
You still on the clock, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I have to agree with the rest of the folks. These people here do not wanna get rid of the Little League. But I mean, what's gonna happen here, in my opinion, and we all got opinions, they're like derrieres, we all have one. My opinion is gonna happen, is it's gonna go out, and you folks are gonna be the bad guy.
You can fix
But we
it.
all want the ball team here. I've been here forever. My kids, grandkids, great grandkids play ball. I don't want the Little League to go nowhere. My God, who does?
Well, then the agreement needs to be ripped up and rewrote to look like we're.
Then why didn't somebody get in
I
touch
did, I
with
sat here
anyone
on the record and requested that.
for it to be redone?
Like
No,
Bridgeville.
but I said the structure of how it would work, and instead I got, we're giving it to the Ducks, this is final, this is her word, this is essentially final. And
But
with
please
a
submit
framework,
any
with a,
changes you'd like to.
with a framework, it's essentially final, with a framework that gave away an entire season of use to another organization that's not community-based. If the problem is responding quickly to other use, you can dictate that, start fresh, do an agreement, mandate that we put a public access on it. The Ducks or anyone else will apply going through. Right now, all this back and forth is trying to win an argument, let's talk about the kids.
Mr.
Because you
Mayor,
can win and the kids
Mr.
are gonna
Mayor,
be
3
gone.
minutes is 3 minutes, sir. I don't mean to interrupt your meeting, but 3 minutes is 3 minutes.
I got
Alright, sorry, I'm trying to do what's best for the kids.
I don't mean to interrupt your meeting. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay. Anybody else?
I don't think there's very many people in here that don't know me, but for those who don't, my name is Chris Heyman. I'm not only a resident of the town of Greenwood, I have 3 children in the Little League, and I hold a position on the board for the Woodbridge Little League. So my concerns come from all kinds of directions here. With that being said, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. The license agreement has already been proposed and adopted by the town. It's essentially final. Not only have they adopted this, we didn't sign it. 14 unanimous board members did not sign this. They have moved forward not only with the January 31st deadline, with our registrations not being final, they have advertised this on social media for scheduling to other organizations. That shows me, along with their adversarial approach, their body language, the disconnect between the board and the council and the town management and the council, that there's no commitment or loyalty to the Woodbridge Little League. The children who play for the Woodbridge Little League are children that have less than that. There's parents in here that have children that play for travel ball. I intend for my children to play travel ball. We're fortunate to be able to do that, but it costs a lot of money. And the kids that play for the Little League don't have that money. It's a stepping stone for them to get into middle school ball, to get into high school, and to play travel ball. They're learning the fundamentals right now. The WECEC school has given their facilities for us to do Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for those children that have less than, to prepare them so that they can be competitive with the other Little Leagues in the county and with the rest of the state and hopefully regions. There's a thing called the Little League World Series. It's big. It all starts right here. I played here. My kids are playing here. A lot of your kids play here. We want to keep it here. There's no reason why the Ducks or any other organization, whether it be travel ball or some type of community recreational team, have any preferential treatment over the Woodbridge Little League. This is Greenwood and Bridgeville, Woodbridge, and it includes Farmington. So there's Kent County kids that play in this district that now have to travel to Bridgeville. So just think about that. So maybe we're too far in. We have to do away with this and start over. There's other nonprofit organizations, i.e. the Greenwood Public Library, that has property that's leased to them. How about maybe making a motion to lease that property to the Woodbridge Little League so that you don't have to be a mediator, so that we can take care of those facilities, so that we can provide it the best way for the kids that are here. And I can't make it any simpler than that. That's all I got.
Anybody else? Okay. Moving on, we'll go to approval of the minutes of the town meeting on January the 11th. Everybody has that before them?
Second.
Minutes of January 11th meeting approved.
Each of those.
Is the chief still over there?
Chief Rainier. You all need to vote. I know there's a motion in a second.
Vote,
You gotta vote on the motion.
okay.
You do a voice.
Yes. Mike?
Yes.
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 Okay,
Recording in progress.
unanimous.
Ready for me, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir. Verbal report from the chief.
Okay, start off, there was January, myself, Corporal Willie, and our new admin assistant, Amy Carey, got the opportunity to go over to WECEC, do a lockdown drill. I think it was the first time Ms. Carey had the opportunity to visit the school and, just kind of see the kids, talk to the kids, and, it was a good time over there. You'd be surprised what these kids know when they call a lockdown drill. I was shocked, but, also, it's not a secret, I mentioned it to you that we've been in talks with Sergeant William Thomas, Billy, and he's back home, so he's back with us. He started Monday officially, so I want to introduce him tonight to everyone who don't know him. Billy Thomas, everyone.
Glad to have you back.
Also, under my report here, we're gonna amend this report a little bit because we had a discussion of a purchase. So the purchase is actually for the police department. We're fully staffed right now. I think we have a good team in place, and we're in need of police vehicles. The vehicles that we currently have are 2015, 2016, and they're starting to nickel and dime us. So I think it's time to start re-upping our fleet. I had the opportunity to, I've contacted so many different car dealerships. Either they can't find anything, they don't have anything that falls under state contract. I was able to get a hold of Purchase in Milford, and they did have a 2023 Chevy Tahoe, gray in color, which is up on the screen here. And I was able to get the best price I could. And it's right now as it sits, $40,731. And it's due to be in this week, if not this week, next week. So I just want to present it to you guys to say that we are in need of a vehicle. And is there anything we can do? We kind of piggyback with this one, with Janet as well, to help us out with purchase of a vehicle. We would really appreciate it. We really need it.
And we can use ARPA funds to purchase it.
Which vehicle is leaving the fleet?
15.
It would be our oldest Tahoe, the one that's starting to nickel and dime us now, and we've had it in the shop. We just got it out of the shop and the check engine light came on yesterday.
Motor problems, transmission problems. I make a motion, we go and buy it.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to purchase the car. I guess you probably need to call them if you don't want them to sell it to somebody else, so,
That'll be a phone call first thing in the morning.
Yes.
Mike, yes?
Yes.
You seconded it?
Yes.
Yes.
Going
Yes.
to work in the morning now.
Yes.
So it's a unanimous, chief, that, go ahead and contact them as soon as possible and
Really appreciate
get it ready.
Thank you. We're gonna start with one, but we will be coming back, just to let you know.
You won't be able to hide a silver car.
Just don't let Billy in it.
Okay, town manager report, Janet.
Yes, sir. First, I want to start by telling you we had a sewer leak on Mill Street that Mr. Trapp reported near the VFW. I contacted Hans at Sussex County because they have the sewer now, we don't. And they found a lateral break about 314 feet into the pipe. And Hans, the county is going to accept responsibility and get that fixed. I'm waiting for a date that they're going to get in there and get that fixed. They found another, Roger reported to them, there was a sagging sinkhole behind the VFW. They went out and looked at that as well, and they said the sewer pipe is sagging, but because it's on private property, it would be repair that the VFW would have to have done. But I pulled the civic file and there was an easement in there between the town and the VFW saying they would be responsible for any sewer line repair, so Hans is gonna take care of that as well now. So the county will be fixing that as well. We put out sealed bids for the water main replacement on Draper Street to replace the 2-inch galvanized line that has been having a leak here and a leak there. There were 4 bids received, one from Teal Construction, Elvin Schrock and Sons, Chesapeake Turf, and RNC Contractors. The lowest bid was $96,558.15 from RNC Contractors, so we will be accepting that as the lowest bid, and that will come out of ARPA funds if it's infrastructure repair. The CD that we have at Community Bank is due to renew on March the 3rd for 12 months. There is $124,934.63 is its value right now. The bank's going to send over the renewal, and she said the interest rate will be in the upper 4s. We need to add a 3rd signer to our account, which will be the secretary, which now we know is Ms. Jones, so we'll process that paperwork. The audit Mr. Reed had asked about last time, I just wanted to touch on that again if he has any more questions. What happened in 2021 when I was out with the surgery and Hal hired the young lady to help with the audit, and then they came and found, they deleted all stuff in our server and all that. And everything's back in there now, they're performing the audit. It should be done probably in the next month, and then it will be back on a yearly schedule. It's not gonna, it would be back on regular schedule at that point. I applied for municipal street aid grant, and we got the email today that we were awarded that. That's $29,200. We use that to pay for the electric bill for the street lights and any additional money we can use for street repairs. I'm applying for bond bill money to pave 6 streets, South Mills, Snyder, Queen, Penwell, North, and Water. And the chief and Roger are also working on a wish list, if you will, things we're gonna apply for that. I attended the tax ditch meeting last week, and I took our pictures and the list of issues that we have in our town ditches, and they told us they do not have any money, they cannot help us. They said there's a large blockage outside of town, that they had to get a grant to fix that, so we're kind of on our own. So Chief and I talked, he gave me a contact to get some prisoners to come get the trash out of the ditches, and then we're gonna get quotes on cleaning out the little small trees and the blockages from a couple companies. And once we have those, I'm gonna try to find a grant to get those costs covered as well. And that's all I have. If you have any questions?
Are we allowed to touch those ditches and do anything as
I
far
verified
as
with Mr.
digging
Mills
anything out
and
or
Mr.
doing anything?
Isaacs, and they both said, yep, go ahead and do it. I said, we don't have to get an engineer, nothing. He said, as long as you're not disturbing everything, you can get the trees out, you can get the trash out.
You can't dig them though, make them bigger, wider, or whatever you wanna do with them.
No, oh no.
Just, all you're doing is cleaning them out,
Correct, so the water will flow again.
That's what I'm talking
yeah.
about.
Okay.
That's all?
That's it.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. I think that's all we got.
Oh, wait, I'm
here's the
sorry, wait a
discussion
minute,
of
don't
town
make a
event.
motion. I was going to say I
hold
forgot
up.
something. Is Jamie still here?
Yes, she's right there.
Yes, she is. The chief and I had a meeting with Jamie Webb, who's here today, tonight, about some upcoming town events. We want to do more community events. And Mrs. Webb generously has donated to head out the committee for this. She's going to work on summer concert series where there would be a band once a month on Wednesday night playing here in town, different bands. People come out and listen for free. And then, of course, we'll have Greenwood Day and some other things. She is going to head up the committee, and she's looking for volunteers that would like to help her, anybody that wants to help you on the committees, and she's, like I said, graciously agreed to handle it for us.
The farmer's market again?
That absolutely starts in May.
Tell them what Saturday it is.
Second Saturday of each month, in May through September.
Just one day.
The farmer's market, yeah.
I think that's it now.
That's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Recording stopped.